Hey, we're matching. Sarah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, hey.
We're matching. We have the same jacket on.
Oh. Yay. Almost had a white hat on earlier too.
Did you?
That's funny.
How was your entertaining this weekend? It sounded like you had a super busy weekend.
Yes, it was. Busy. Yes. Good though.
Good to actually get together with people.
Yeah, I know. Just feeling today like trying to catch up and clean up.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Where's your office? Where's your office at, Holly? Do you have it upstairs or is it on your main floor?
It's just right from our master bedroom. And it's right now.
Oh, good.
A big mess because basically it's all of the Christmas stuff that's just being shoved on the shelving.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like this is where we wrap, and it's just a really small space, but it's kind of the storage. Hey, Becky.
Yep.
Hi, Katie. Hi, Jen. Oh,
hey there.
Hi. I'm not seeing faces. Let's see. Katie, I don't see you. And Jen, are you guys are you wanting to hide yourself? And then iPhone. Who's iPhone? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
I can.
So quiet. There's Gina. Hi, Gina.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh.
Being late for you guys. Hi, Katie. Here's Katie.
There we go. Uh-oh.
There's Brittany.
I didn't lose that. There we go. I was.
Hi, Brittany. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Look, it might be a little delayed. Let's see. Sarah, did you know of anybody else coming on for sure? I see that we wanted to wait for, that we feel like we need. It is recording. This is recording, so I'll be able to post this.
Good. Yeah, Jen and Lisa are both gonna pop on. Okay. Oh, there's Mary.
Lucy and Christy. Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
Good morning.
You look beautiful as always.
I like your setup.
Thank you.
I know.
I just got that from Wayfair for like $100. I was so excited.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like best investment ever.
The whole thing came together.
Wow.
All that.
Well, my husband put it together for me, but it was only $100.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it was super easy in like an hour. And it was an excuse to organize my office, which was hashtag a junk room.
Funny how that happens. So you guys, okay, it's 4:00 Pacific Standard Time, and I know that Brittany is going on another call that a lot of us are just gonna merge right into after this. And so I want to respect your time, Brittany. First, I want to just say thank you so much for taking the time to come onto our call. We wanted this to be a little intimate, where we can really all ask you questions about your journey, about how you built your business to 4,000 reps in your downline, how you went from being a nurse into, you're a mom of 3, right? 3 or 4?
4.
So if you can maybe just tell us a little bit about your story, and then for anyone who has questions, maybe just like, kind of just raise your hand, and then we'll just kind of go from there. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me. Okay, I was super excited when she told me it was like a smaller, intimate group, because that is my jam. I am more of like a small person. It's just funny how some people thrive on like the huge groups. I do way better with smaller groups. I'm going to preface with, I got my first IPL today and I am like a low key person. So an IPL, in case you don't know, is like a laser treatment on your face. So you might see some flaking skin and whatnot. That's fine. That's just what's happening right now. I had no clue. Like I didn't even think about it. So when I was getting it today, I'm like, how bad is my flaking going to be?
Well, you look great. Oops.
My name is Brittany Duncan. Like I'm a wife. I have 4 kids. When I started, I'm trying to think, I think they were 6 and under. I had 4 kids, 6 and under. My baby was like 5 months old, maybe. So I had 6, 4, 2, and baby. I was working as a nurse, not full time, but I was working just a couple shifts a week. And I honestly just loved the clothes. And I thought, okay, if I could just earn a pair of leggings a month, like that's good enough for me. So that was truly like when I first joined, that was my goal. In saying that though, I had 2 friends that were making over $20,000 a month in the direct sales space. And so I kind of had a light bulb of like what could be. So I think even though I jumped in for like a discount or free leggings, I think I always in the back of my mind kind of knew like, okay, this could be huge. I was a Lulu through and through, so I was wearing activewear all the time. At the time, I was also training for a marathon. So like good leggings were really, really important to me. So I think I was kind of looking back, let me see if I can find it. I was kind of looking back over numbers just to get an idea. So I've been in now, for 3.5 years. And so some of this is like clear as mud. So I went back through to kind of look. In the first 3 weeks, I had signed up 3 people. Now I'm going to tell you, when we started Zaya, we had no Facebook groups. We had no, there was literally nothing for training, nothing. Our back office, like if you guys think it's crap now, you should have seen it then. Like it was true crap. So I had no experience in direct sales whatsoever. And so really those first 3, as I thought, like, why would anyone join me? Right? Like, why would anyone come on when I was not even sharing what it could be? Because I wasn't even aware of what it could be. And I think it was just pure excitement. I mean, really had to be like that. I was just so excited about it that people were like, cool, like, let me come with you. I like leggings too. Let's see what this is all about. Now I'm also going to throw out there, I am not one, like, I'm just going to throw out Andy. Andy is the most amazing leader. You guys are seriously so lucky to have her. She and I have worked together. Andy was like maybe my 4th rep. So I drove 3 hours one way. So 6 hours round trip to host a party for a friend. And that's where I met Andy. Like I had known her before, but we were not friends. I don't think we were friends on social media or anything like that. And so Andy's muddled through this with me as well. And we've gone back and forth together. And as I look at people that have stuck around for those 3 years that are finding success, I think that's also a huge key piece is we had a person. We had a person who we could go to that we could say, this freaking sucks. And they're not going to tell us like, you should just quit. Because this is a long-term picture here. Like I did not get 4,000 people on my team in 6 months. It took 3 years to get that of solid work. Now I've taken, a week or 2 off here or there, but I've never taken an extended period off because when I take those weeks or 2 off, I pay for it later. And I know that. When I first joined, my husband told me right off the bat, he's like, if you're going to do this, like, you're going to treat it like a business. So he's like, you're not going to tell me in 3 months you're quitting. Like, you're going to give it 2 years. And I was like, okay, whatever, So there was a point in Zaya where we have 1 pair of leggings, no bottoms whatsoever to sell. So when I joined, I think we had like 12 to 16 items. Our starter kit I paid $700 or $800 for our starter kit, and you got 1 of everything, but not in your size. So it's just random sizes of every item we had. So it was just, that's just what it was. And so when I got it, I think I could wear 2 things. And I remember buying, 1 pair of, like, we didn't even have light and tights then. So, it was truly like just kind of the Wild West. But I remember at one point we had no leggings, no bottoms whatsoever to sell. And I think we only had a bra. We had 1 bra and it sucked. Like it was a Target comfortable bra. Like it was not anything that I would recommend to people, to spend $40 on. Like go spend 12 at Target and get it. And I remember telling him, like, I think I'm done. Like, I don't think that I want to do this anymore. He's like, well, too bad. You're in it for 2 years. And I'm so glad he did because he gave me a lot of tough love. Now, we also own traditional businesses. So we own some pest control companies that we've built from the ground up. And so I treat my Zaya business a lot like I treat that business. Now, I will compare them just to give you guys some ideas. So Zaya, I was profitable within like 3 months. With pest control, it took us a solid year. A solid year to be profitable. We had to put in tens of thousands of dollars to get that up and running. I put in 800, there's a lot of like apples to oranges that I think helps my brain and my vision for what Zaya is and what could be. So I'm a long-term thinker. Like if I have a down month that sucks, that's fine. I don't care because I'm looking 2 years down the road what it's going to be. So I think it was about a year and a half in when I was able to replace my nursing income, a full-time nursing income. So that was about $7,000. I don't know if other places pay their nurses a lot more, but in New Mexico, that's what it was. It was about 7,000. That took me about a year and a half. And some people make that. I mean, there's a girl in here that she truly made that in a matter of 6 months. That was her monthly income. That's not my story. So the other thing I want you guys to know about me, that going back to Andy is a freaking rock star in consistency and building a team and selling. Like nobody does it like Andy does it for 3 years. Like it's not like she just did it for a year. And Andy consistently does all this. So she's like the perfect model of what you should be. I'm over here. I don't build like Andy does in the sense of she brings in way more people than I do. Way more. Like I want to say she's over double what I've brought in. So I want you guys to know that because I don't want you to look, I know I had this vision of what every top leader did and it was like, oh my gosh, they bring in 10 people a month. No, that's not me. And that's not my story. So if you have this idea that like, that's who you have to be. Now your chances of finding success are a lot quicker if that's your route. That's never, I've done that a couple months and it was really overwhelming to me. So that's just not how I function. I also am not selling $10,000 a month sometimes, but it's not every single month. I'm not telling you that so you guys can like lower your limits. I just want you to know, like, I am just your average wife and mom. Like, that's truly what I feel like. What I am really good at though, is planning with a purpose. I'm really good at goal setting and I'm really good at just letting, things fly off my back. Like if our website is down or if we sell out of something, it doesn't get to me too much. Like it's really like, it's closed. We're going to be okay. We're going to have another awesome sellout. Or our website, yeah, it sucks, but I know we've got Quinn on it. That sort of stuff just doesn't get to me. And so as I've been asked recently a lot lately, like, why do you feel like you found success? And I feel like through consistency and just like thinking big term. I think because I'm able to see the big picture is why those sorts of things just don't get to me anymore. And quite honestly, they might have at the beginning. I don't even remember. So, so I'm not really sure on that. But when I look at my team, so looking at a team of 4,000 people and how I got there, like that is never something I envisioned. So first of all, I'm going to do the training tonight and I'll ask the same question. But do you guys have like an idea of like an income of like, I made it? Like, do you kind of have an idea in your brain of like, okay, if I get this paycheck every month, like I made it in direct sales? Do you guys have like a sense of that somewhat? Okay. So when I first started getting into it, and I think it's probably when people were joining my team and I was realizing like, oh, people want this, like, okay, maybe I can be this, my neighbors, you know, that we're doing this. And they were both in different companies, of course, but I just kind of had like that little flicker. And I remember saying like, if I, you know, $10,000, that was my number. If I could make 10,000, made it. And I remember the first time getting that paycheck, I just cried. You know, I cried because I'm like, oh my gosh, I made it. But I didn't feel any different than I did when I was making $200 or $100 or when I was in the hole because I did a big incentive that went completely wrong and I had to pay out my team thousands and I was not making that. Like, I didn't think through that incentive. My point is that in building all of this, like I truly feel like I've built the exact same and I'm the same person I was then essentially. Sure, I've tweaked things here and there, but ultimately I truly run my business the exact same as I did back when I had 2 people on my team. Like not a whole lot has changed. And I really feel like I'm not just talking up Andy because she's your leader, but she is truly like the epitome of what like you should be and how you will success. Like Andy is a freaking rock star and I look up to her so much. Like she is amazing. So I'm really glad that you guys get to like learn from her as well. I'm trying to think. One piece I feel like was really important along the way when I talked about having that person. So like for me, my husband was that. He was a really good sounding board in that I knew he wasn't going to be the type that's like, yeah, if you need to quit, like quit. This is stupid. You know, that was not his personality at all. He gave me a lot of tough love many, many times. But if I did not have that person, Sarah Anderson is my direct. And so I spent many nights on the phone with Sarah, texting back and forth, like, this is terrible. I suck. I can't do this. and she would like kind of talk me through that. And as I look at all of these people in 3 years, obviously I've had a ton of first level people quit, like frontline that I have enrolled. Gosh, tons. Like that's just the nature of it, right? But I look at all those people that have been with me from the beginning, and I have a good relationship with them. And it makes me wonder, like, is it because, we were that person for each other? I knew their goals, I knew what they were shooting for, so therefore I could help them. Now, obviously with the team of, even more than honestly 20, you can't know everyone's goals. You just can't. Like your brain just doesn't have the capacity for that. So I'm a very organized, I don't want to say type A. I'm type A like sometimes in some things. This was one of those things I was pretty tight with. I write down all of my team's goals. And so I know them and I can look at them and see them quickly. And the reason I do that is because I want to help them. And when they reach their goals, my goal. Like it's just kind of what happens. So then we can all do it together, and it's way more fun to reach goals with your team than it is by yourself. Like I remember that very first trip, I was literally like, I was there with Sarah, but no one from my team was there. And so the next trip, when I had a couple people from my team, it was so good. Like it felt so good because I'm like, okay, we did this together. And that's truly like what I love about this business. When I stepped out of the nursing space, I was really worried that I was going to miss patient care. I love people. I love people. I love making them feel comfortable. ICU is kind of my background. And then I went into nuclear medicine. So it's more like heart tests. But that was the thing that I really worried about the most, just doing, skills, whatever, I can get those back. But just like talking to people, hearing their stories, making people feel comfortable. Really, my happy space is making those families feel more comfortable. And in ICU, I got to do that a lot. Well, I have found that like my cup is able to be filled when I'm helping people in this space. And even though maybe I don't have you on a drip and you're in a coma, surviving and fighting for your life, as a team, like I love helping people. I had a girl this last pay period text me and tell me like she was able to relieve a relationship that wasn't healthy at all because she's like, I just needed $200 a month. That's all I needed. And so the fact that we could help her there, like, that's why I'm here. And not necessarily like everyone's not going to have that story, like this life altering, like $200 got me out of this terrible relationship. But I love empowering women. I like letting women see, hey, you don't have to work 90 hours a week and have a PhD to be successful or to find success or to find yourself or find happiness. Like, you can be a mom of 4 on her bed with kids' drawings, like, and still find your jam. And so that's like the piece where I feel like I found purpose of why I was here. And I found it within a community, right? So I'm working with all these people one-on-one. And like I told you guys earlier, intimate groups are like where I love. Like when I'm on call, I did a call with 5,000 people. That was fine, but I was searching for those, those faces of the few people I knew because I was really like connecting with them. That's just how I do best. And so finding that person in our community. And if you're struggling to find that person, that's what your upline's for. And that doesn't mean like your upline has to be that person, but they know personalities. I know I've connected people many times where I'm like, you know what? Like I had a girl just come to me a month ago, and she's like, I just need somebody to like talk to that's at my same level. So I connected them, and you know what? They like totally hit it off. It's like a relationship, right? Like they hit it off, and now they can like be that for each other, that community and that space. Because so often we can come together as a group and find that community, but that one-on-one, like nothing can beat that. And so I think that's really important too, is to just find your place in that, within that community, and why you're here, and that's not necessarily like to pay the bills or, whatever, but like, what do you want to accomplish here? And it's okay if it's for you. It's okay if it's not like, I want to empower women. Like you don't have to shout it from the rooftops. It can be like, hey, I just like having this because I like to hit goals, or I like having this because I like to do stuff without my kids and to use my brain in a different way, or it can just be for the discount. I mean, whatever it is, it's okay. Like you're welcome here. And I think it's powerful though to know exactly why you're here, just because it helps you to stick around when the times do get tough. That's another piece of advice I have for you. Like, it's a business. There are going to be times that suck, and that's just life. I mean, there are times in our pest control business that we were like, holy crap, I hate this business. And quite honestly, it happens way more than it happens in this business for me. Like there are many times I'm so sick of the employees and the overhead and, you know, just the headache of that. But knowing and being able to see the big picture here, like, and why you're here, and realizing it's okay if that month was terrible or something was unfair. Sometimes it's not fair. You know, there are things that happen and it's not fair. But knowing that you can like move forward past that, because such is life, right? Like we always tell our kids, like, life's not fair. That's just kind of how I view the business as well. And things don't tend to bother me as much. And it's paid out. So one of my friends that, okay, so her husband is a PA, and she was in LuLaRoe. I think it's okay that we talk about their company. So she was in LuLaRoe. She got in at the very beginning. So this was a couple years ago, like I'd probably say 5 years ago. And she was making over $25,000 a month, which was just mind blowing to me. Like I could not even fathom. So her husband at that point was deciding if he should step away from his career as a PA and just support her and work with her. Now, LuLaRoe, they obviously do a lot of like they have to do live parties all the time, or live sales, I guess is what it's called. So her husband, he is very charismatic and her customers loved him. So she's like, she knew her sales were way higher when he was on with her. And so that's why they were having to decide, like, is it better if he steps away, you know, from his business and comes to support her? So he did, he stepped away and did that. And I just remember like sitting back and thinking like, I know this girl, I hang out with her. There is nothing special about her. And I don't mean that in a rude way. There is nothing that you'd think like, oh yeah, she came from sales in this huge company. No, like she was just like me. And so I think that's where I was able to like envision myself in that space of like, wait, maybe I could be successful. And though my goals were way different, like I don't think if I made like $500,000 a month, I still don't think Steven would ever step away from work. That's just not his personality. And I don't think I'd want him to. I think we work better having our separate things. I could envision myself though, seeing her story and listening to her talk about it. And so as I come on and like do trainings, and not even that, but like meet you at Summit or just different things like that, like I hope that you guys are able to see like there is nothing special about me, truly. Like there is nothing that would qualify me as like this top leader that you don't have. I think as long as you have the drive, you're going to be okay. When you can have that big vision and you have the drive and you want it, that's when you're going to be and to find success. And I think I'm in a unique position that I have a mastermind with 6 other girls that are top leaders in their companies. So we've got Young Living, we've got LuLaRoe, we've got Monet. I know I'm saying that wrong. I think it's Monat. I don't know. Anyway, the hair company, we've got a Plexus girl and Mascara. And so we can come together and ask each other questions quite often. And I think it's really interesting. Mine are always based on like, how do you see, like, what do you see makes someone successful? Because I want to share that with everyone, because I want everyone to find that success. I don't think there is a limit on, all of us could be successful in Zaya. I really have that like abundance mindset that there is enough for all of us, because I bet maybe we're going to have 2 mutual friends outside of Zaya between all of us. Our networks are so much bigger than we're thinking they are. And so as I look at that and see like what makes leaders successful, I mean, it's the same things that always come up like time and time again. It's usually consistency, kind of the big vision thinking, like being able to just let it roll off your back and move along. But number one thing is mindset. It's just really being able to envision yourself. And not even envision yourself as a leader. Like when I'm saying that, I wasn't thinking 3 years ago, like I can't just step on that stage and speak. Like, no, that's not it at all. But was I worthy of being a leader? Did I have something to offer people, making myself a better person so that I could be those people? And I still struggle with that sometimes. I'm like, gosh, I did a training for a team last week and she just wanted me to talk on like, how I success. And I was like, I still feel like I'm just the same person that I was so long ago. And of course, like I'm bettering myself all the time, but there's nothing drastically different that I'm doing. I still spend, those 20 minutes in the morning doing the exact same habits that I did and I developed in that first year. So I'm making sure that I'm reaching out to customers, I'm making sure I'm not ashamed of the business model. Like, I know that was something at first I felt a little bit of shame about the business model because people have a bad idea of what direct sales is, right? And so for a long time, I felt shame around it. Like, I didn't think I did, but when I started to dig deeper and look, I was like, you know what? I am hesitant to share that business model, where now I love it. I love that you don't have to have a college degree. You know, we don't have all these disqualifiers right off the bat. You don't have to have $30,000 to start your business. All these pieces that truly anyone can build this business. I love that. I actually think that's like a huge plus. Oh, what was the other thing? There was one other thing I was going to add in there. Now I can't think of it.
Can I ask a question about
I
that?
know people.
Oh, can I?
Yeah, absolutely.
So stigma can come along with direct marketing. And recently TikTok has banned people from promoting MLMs, and there's becoming like YouTubers that are totally against MLMs. And I was a huge skeptic too. I think that's what took me a good 8 months to even really put myself out there. So what do you say to your team, and how did you get past leaving nursing to go to an MLM? I'm sure you had people question that. How did you overcome that?
And still do. My sister is so anti-MLM, and she lets me know like every chance she gets. I mean, we were at her house for Thanksgiving and she said something and my husband's like, knock it off. Like, I still just, it like stuns me still. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so rude. How could she say that? So yes, I think first of all, like acknowledging the stigma. So I was with Holly. I had many people ask me to host parties and I was like, nope, not my thing. Like I hate even saying this. I was not necessarily supportive of people. I wasn't like against them. I didn't speak out against them, but I didn't help them along either. And I was very skeptical of the entire direct sales model. I think first of all, and maybe this, you can relate to this, Holly, but like educating myself changed, right? Right. So I think the fact that like I help my team, that's where I feel like, okay, in return, because if I just stepped back and didn't do anything, I'd feel really gross getting a paycheck. That just wouldn't feel right to me. So my way of earning my paycheck is by helping my team, educating them, and helping them like bring that out. So there's always going to be people that hate direct sales. Those are not our people. They're not. And quite honestly, I've never engaged with anyone that hated truly like loudly, vocally hated direct sales that changed their mind. I just haven't. That might happen. I don't even put my energy there anymore. If I see someone right off the bat is like super hateful or skeptical or whatever about it, and I don't even want to say skeptical. I was skeptical. But if they're very vocally rude, I don't even engage. Like, okay, thanks so much. Bye. Like, I don't put my energy there, because what happens, and this is still like probably 4 months ago happened to me. I was talking to someone and we kind of were going back and forth, and it's a friend. And she like mentioned how gross direct sales was. And you know what? I laid in bed that night and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, am I a gross person? Is this, it took me down this rabbit hole. When I woke up the next morning, I was fine. Like, I woke up completely fine. So I think my first bit of advice is there are so many people in the US, we don't need to engage in that. The second piece, like, I know there's been a lot of chatter about, TikTok and the ban, of course. So to that, I say, so I have a business coach that I just started with a couple weeks ago, and it's Kristen Boss. I think some of you are in her 3-day thing that I've seen. Yeah, Kristen's amazing. So I do one-on-one coach with her, which was really hard to make that investment. It was the biggest investment I've ever made in myself. But a friend told me like, hey, if you want to level up as a leader, you have to invest in yourself. And I saw that within a week and a half. I already was like, leveling up just a little bit, because I think I was taking myself a little more serious with my business. So anyway, one thing that we talked about with that, because we kind of discussed that a little bit, she's like, it doesn't even matter. Like, you shouldn't even care about that, because you should be serving so much on social media that you don't even need to talk about your product. People will see you using or wearing or whatever, and they're going to come to you. I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, okay, I don't have a huge following on Instagram. Like, I'm not anybody special there. But if you guys go look at my friend, I'm going to throw her out here. So Simple Life by Kels. She is a girl. Let me double check the handle real quick. She also coaches with Kristen. She's with Monet.
Say that again, Brittany.
Yeah, simple. So it's Simple Life. Here, I'm going to put it in the chat. Simple Life by Kels. Simple Life by Kels. So she does the best. So she focuses on sourdough. And I know so often people are like, what problem can you solve, for the world? Or, when you're trying to kind of find your audience. So I feel like she has nailed it down. So she's not solving any problem necessarily. Like, she cooks sourdough and she's sharing it with the world, right? So that's not solving world hunger or any big picture thing, but she has found her people. And she serves so much that I know I've done it every time she does like an ask. They say it's supposed to be like give, ask, give, ask. So if we're following that method to our customers, followers, and I think this goes in real life as well. If we're following all of that, when we come to the ask, it's not going to feel gross. It's not going to feel like you're being pushy, because you have served them in a way this entire time that now it just feels natural. So as we were talking about this TikTok ban, she's like, if Instagram goes that way or Facebook goes that way, because I'm mostly Instagram, but I know a lot of people are Facebook. One sec. So if they choose to go that way, she said, with this model like Kelsey's done, where she's serving her audience so much, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't even have to have any of her product stuff in that name. And when I think about it, it doesn't make me upset that they've banned it. I mean, it is what it is. We can't control it, right? So how can we work within that realm? And so my suggestions to my team, because I had a couple girls that were like, oh my gosh, Instagram's next, what do we do? I'm like, okay, well, first of all, we're not all Zaya. Like, Holly isn't all Zaya. And so what else are we sharing? That's something we should really be looking at. And you guys, if you go to my Instagram, you're not going to be like, whoa, Brittany's so good at this. This is something I'm truly just delving into myself. But as I've seen how well it's worked for her, and I have another friend named Jackie, that they're doing it, it makes so much sense. Now, Kelsey and I are friends. And so I know she told me after she started implementing more of the give, that her sales were going from about 1,000 to 15,000 plus. Now, she has a big audience. I think she has 30,000 followers. I don't know. Actually, I totally made that up. I'm not sure how many followers she has, but a bigger audience. And so clearly, like, I'm not saying, we with, 1,000 followers or 500 followers or whatever are going to get that. The other piece I want you to remember is followers. Like, I would rather have 100 good engaged followers than 10,000. And I've had 10,000 followers and they were terrible. So as soon as I went out and cleaned house and stopped following so many people, I dropped 3,000 followers. I lost 3,000 in a matter of, a week and a half. And I've never felt better, because the people that are on my Instagram are engaged and they're interested. So I don't really care. Like, yeah, I lost my swipe up. That's fine, because the people are my people. So I think as far as like, the stigma and looking at it, your own beliefs are going to shine through. If you have shame about direct sales, let's talk and let's figure out why. Why do you have that shame? What feels gross about it? Because maybe we can talk you through it and help you see like that, okay, here's something else that Kristen on our last call we talked about that just blew my mind. She's like, okay, so if you're feeling gross about direct sales, because I told her, I think I have some shame, or at one point I did, how can we work through that, right? I'm in this direct sales. And so she's like, okay, think of Maslow's hierarchy. So I know I learned this in school. I hadn't revisited it in, 15 years. So she brought it up. And the very bottom was like food, air, and water, I think, were those bottom three. If you guys know exactly, tell me in the chat or out loud. The bottom tier was like food, water, and air. The next one was shelter and money. And she's like, okay, so we are here, like, we're going to focus on the business aspect, right? We're not even going to focus on the awesome leggings right now. We're focusing on the big business piece. So we've got this business piece. And she's like, if you can't get above money, right? I know when my husband and I were in college, I mean, we were dirt poor, like both in college full-time, working maybe part-time. I don't even think we were working part-time, maybe together combined, had no extra money. So when we're in that space, and hopefully you guys, not even hopefully, but if you've been in that space before, think back to that time you were. Could you think about anything else? She's like, most of the time you can't. When you're thinking paycheck to paycheck, you truly can't think about much else. So therefore, you're missing these top 3 tiers of goodness in life. And that's finding fulfillment. I mean, you guys can go look up Maslow's hierarchy, but she said, you're helping people find the second base so that they can reach the top 3. That's your job right now. And when I like reframed my thoughts around that, it just blew my mind. Like, oh my gosh, doesn't that feel so much better than what I was experiencing before and my thoughts around it? So I think if you're struggling with that stigma, let's have a conversation. Like, we can talk about it behind the scenes privately, but let's reframe your thoughts and your focus so that we can get you to a space where you want to share, where you really believe in your heart that it's a gift. Because I think that people absolutely pick up on our underlying feelings. So as much as I could say like, oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever, if I don't believe that, they're going to feel that. And so reframing your thoughts around, you know, if we feel like, oh, how do we get past the stigma? Well, chances are we're still struggling with that stigma. So what kind of work can we do to move beyond that? So hopefully that's a little bit helpful. Did that answer?
Great. We have a couple newer reps that are going to be watching this for sure. And I just want them to feel so confident about going into this business, which I want to segue into. And then I want other reps, people to be able to ask some questions. When you say I run my business just very consistently, what does that mean to you? How have you been consistent? And what is your day-to-day, your week-to-week? Do you lead team calls? Can you give us an idea of really how to work the business from your perspective for you to become as successful as you are?
Yes. And that's still like so uncomfortable for me to even hear. Yes. So consistent to me is like, I don't work weekends hardly at all. That's something that I have. I prioritize my life and Zaya, if that makes sense. So because I'm such a goal person, like I was actually looking back at my goals from, let me see if I can find it. Okay, 2020 goals. So I had these written. I am a pen to paper planner. I love my planners. They go everywhere with me. So I went back through and was looking at my 2020 goals. So I had like for Zaya, double Zaya by July, which I actually hit that goal. And that did not look like it was going to happen in June. I thought there's no way. And then all of a sudden, all the pieces fell. $1 million team by Summit, enroll 24 reps or minimum reps, consistently paid at Zaya Executive. Because at that point, when I made these goals, I would kind of bounce back and forth for a couple of months, and I didn't want the bouncing. I wanted like a very consistent. And then Facebook group started and email subscription continued. So I'm going to tell you guys, when we started, we didn't do Facebook groups. We just didn't even know that. I have yet to start a Facebook group, which is crazy. And I never recommend new reps ever, ever, ever. Like, your Facebook group is your bread and butter. My Facebook group though is my Instagram. That's just how I built from the beginning. And so my people are all there and connecting with me, usually behind the scenes on Instagram. So that's kind of, yeah. So I would never recommend to not have a Facebook group, because I still don't though, a year later. So that's something that I didn't hit that goal this year. I do have my email subscription, so that's at least something. But along with Zaya, then I have marriage, date night twice a month, because with 4 little kids, it was really hard to have normal date nights. I have motherhood, and 3 things under motherhood that I wanted to be better at, and then movement. And so as I make my goals, like I was telling you guys, we're not all Zaya, you're not all Zaya. And so you've got to figure out, how can Zaya fit into my life? Because we can say like, oh yeah, I'm going to work this business. How are you going to work it though? Are you going to dedicate mornings? That's when I did. So I would wake up at 5 to 5:30 in the mornings and work for about an hour. I allotted myself 1 hour if I needed to tie up loose ends later. Now, that doesn't include like party lives and stuff, but that's when I do the bulk of my work, was morning and then at night. And then sometimes I'd have, half an hour to an hour during the day where I would do that as well. So I was super consistent with that up until August, when I started homeschooling. New Mexico is shut down completely. And so my kids, I have 3 homeschool kids right now. And so my rhythms have changed a little bit. I've had to do a little more self-care than even, I've just had to really limit and bring in life. And that's the other thing. I think we have to be able to work with seasons. We all have seasons in our life. And those seasons, like when my kids go back to school, I'm going to have more time during the day. And so I'm going to be able to allot more time with that. But being able to ebb and flow with what's happening in your life, I think it's important that as a wife, and as a mother, as a human being, like, you're still moving forward in all those different directions you want to. When I feel fulfilled and happy as a wife and a mom, I'm a way better Zaya leader, or even a way better rep. And so I think all of those pieces come together. So for me, what that looks like is typically Mondays are kind of my thank yous to customers. So Mondays, I just kind of have a rhythm where I do handwritten thank you cards or emails thanking them. If they've already gotten a handwritten one, they usually just get an email of some sort. I'll go in my back office, everybody from the week before. That's just how I do it. Okay. The week before, Mondays, they get a thank you in whatever form that's going to look like. I follow up with them. So if I see, so about once a month, I'll go back and I'll look and see like, okay, Holly ordered these light and tights from me 3 weeks ago. Surely she's worn them. That's when I'm going to reach out to Holly about like, hey, are you interested in hosting an event and sharing a link, or would you just like a VIP link so you can do your own shopping? I do a lot of VIP links. People really seem to like that. It feels very low pressure. And from there, you're fine. Go. And there's an echo, but I don't know what it is.
Sorry. I'm trying to turn this off.
Oh, you're fine. Okay.